Hey everyone, it's Adrian again, back to work on some more Dark Mechanicus. Today I want to try my hand at converting a character model to the power of the Dark Gods, and to begin with I've selected the Manipulus. The funny thing about this model, like many of the Mechanicus models, is that he already looks pretty spooky and evil, which presents a unique challenge when trying to make an even darker version of him. He also does have another element, whether intended or not, which is the fact that he's a pretty humorous sculpt. He's got this big belly of Mecha Dendrites, no shoes, and is doing this sort of anime death stare at someone. I love this model for the character it has, and so I want to do it justice by bringing some of the character and humor into my final conversion. Alright, to start off, I look at ideal conversion points. I want to keep him recognizable as a Manipulus, but also want to be able to alter him in clear and interesting ways. The first thing that popped out to me were the Mecha Dendrites, which look so similar to the tiny arms on the Talos kit that I had just worked with, and so knew there could be some cool and easy swaps happening there. I was also immediately drawn to his Mechanicus staff, which has a big cog of the Omnissiah on it. This obviously had to go and would be rife with possibilities for replacements. Lastly, this barefooted priest of the machine god floats above the ground, which is super awesome, and I bet I can make some cool tentacly equivalents to what he has. So I started there, taking some tentacles from the Talos kit, which already has a perfect combination of flesh and machinery, and worked to fit them beneath him. I made sure to angle them further back to give a sense of motion and almost land a ghostly ethereal effect to him, as if he's swiftly floating above the battlefield. Pretty happy with that, actually. This boy also has tons of vials and instruments on his backpack. Once again, not unlike the Talos, and it was just begging to be filled with heretical instruments. Just as with the Castellan robots from the last episode, I cut out several instruments and vials from the Talos, taking advantage of the ability to create some symmetry here. Next up, the Mecha Dendrites. He's got this hilarious big belly just begging to have its part swapped out for it. So I cut out a bunch of the Talos mini arms to try out for size and started playing, swapping, and dry fitting them. I'm pretty floored by how cohesively these kits fit together. Take a look at this arm compared to that of a Cadfron servitor here. Spot the loyalist arm if you can. As I mentioned, I wanted to replace the top of his staff with something more sinister, something more Dark Mechanicus. Digging around, I found the giant blade from the Talos hand, which was perfect. I wasn't sure how I wanted to use it though, as I could see it fitting like an axe or a halberd, or alternatively like a piston sort of scythe. This is an important moment that happens many times in every project. This is just not working for me. Don't be afraid to cut it off or snap it off and try again. If it's not immediately speaking to you, it's probably not the right way to go. After some more attempts, I ended up cutting it down and attaching it more in the axe style, knowing now that I'd want to go back and green stuff some demon flesh on it later to mix between the two parts. So we've got the body, the arms, the tentacles of various shapes and sizes. It's time for the head. As much as I love the regular heads with their wild and silly priest affectations, they really identify the model as it was originally intended to be. I needed something to be decidedly different that would walk the line between grimdark and humorous. It's time to bring out the big guns. It's time for the Squigoth bag. The Squigoth bag is what my gargantuan Squigoth came in from Forge World, naturally. This massive bag of potentials filled with all of my favorite bits. They've all been removed from the sprues at some point and are organized in a eclectic but logical fashion. Let's take a look. I've got a mixed chaos bag, Tyranid monstrous weapons, a Necron bits bag, looks like a mixed Nids bag. Some are organized by faction, others by type of bit, and others still are a complete black box of bit potential. While if I know I have a bit, I can find it amidst this mess, it can also help to peruse for bits or really just inspiration. Aha, here it is. So we're down to two choices, the fly head from a Plaguebringer or the tongue-out head from an Aberrant. Either way, they can be made to work for this bulbous floating Dark Mechanicus priest, who at this point I've definitely decided has given himself to the Lord of Plagues. He is a big healthy boy after all. In the end, I decided to go with the Aberrant head. It offers a lot more personality, and while the fly head would look cool, it leans a bit too much in the monster realm and not enough in the realm of an interesting character I can build a narrative around and have lead my army. This Aberrant head, on the other hand, is so filled with glee about something assuredly awful, he's the perfect fit. Alright, now it's time to green stuff. As always, I mix equal parts yellow and blue to make green, and wait for it to begin to cure about half an hour. While we're waiting for that, I wanted to answer a question I got a lot from my last video. Many of you asked what the spray I was using on my models was. This is a magical material that's used to instantly cure or set glue. Most companies that make hobby glue also offer an instant cure spray. Any of them will work, but don't mix across brands as they don't always use the same chemicals and it may not work with each other. In this case, I'm using the classic Instacure brand, which you can find at many hobby stores as they actually sell out to other companies and let them rebrand them. Apply the glue to one of the parts you're attaching, apply the spray to the other, and then connect them. They cure when exposed to air together, so you can gently blow on it to accelerate the process. Take note, I never spray directly onto the glue unless the parts are ready to be sealed, as it will immediately begin to take effect. Anyways, hope that was helpful. Thanks for the questions all, and let's get back to it. Alright, it's green stuff time. I grab a roll of green stuff and begin to smush it onto the model. Rather than glue the head first, I apply the green stuff first to help it wrap around the head like rolls of fat. Then, using my sculpting tools, I work it into rolls and wounds just as I did with the Castellans. Remember now, I also need to apply some to his Omniscient axe, and that gets a healthy portion to smooth out the connections between the two kits. Once this is cured a bit more, I can add some nasty poxmark details and an additional level of neck rolls, naturally. And with that said, the final step is to fix him to the base. Two things to note. One, I wanted him to be floating, and I knew I would not be able to do his final base with him, but separately. I found the perfect solution in the form of a little lord, a little Nurgling baby, who would be hanging on his master as he floats away. Finally, with the need for some more support and stability, I used another Talos tentacle to secure him to his temporary stand. And there we have it, a Dark Mechanicus Manipulus. I'm incredibly happy with how he turned out. He's just the right level of fun and grimdark. The entire process is always a lot of fun to go through, and I'm really happy with him as the first of my characters in this army. I think it's really important to always remember to have a good amount of character, and in some cases, a good amount of humor, regardless of how grimdark your actual army is. So this guy's going to make a great addition to it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it to be useful for your own conversions. Let me know, of course, in the comments below what kind of conversions you could see coming up in this Dark Mechanicus series and what you'd like to see me work on. If you found this video to be helpful and interesting, let us know in the comments below. And also, as always, liking and subscribing helps us grow the channel and create more interesting content. Other than that, I'll catch you guys next time on the Tabletop.